Happy Halloween, October 31st. In this video, I'm going to talk about 6 tips on how to be a successful entrepreneur. If you're a bookkeeper, you are in the right place. I teach people how to start a bookkeeping business. If you're not a bookkeeper and you're just thinking about starting any business, welcome to my channel. And these 6 tips are still going to be helpful for you, really for anybody trying to start a business. My name is Zach Pasquarello. I started my bookkeeping business 5 years ago, and now I make these videos and I make my podcast because I love talking about my bookkeeping business. I love teaching people. I just love making these videos, coaching people, helping people. If you're watching live right now on my YouTube channel, feel free to ask questions in the chat. Once I go through my notes, I will answer everybody's questions. If you're watching a replay of this video, I go live every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at 10 a.m. on my YouTube channel. So consider joining live if you want to join the conversation and ask some questions. If you're listening on my podcast, Apple or Spotify, thanks for listening. I also post these videos on YouTube. I have the same name across all my channels, bookkeeping expert Zach Pasquarello, so it's pretty easy to find me. Let's jump right into it. Let me know in the chat. Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if you can see me. I'm a one-man show, not super great with the tech, so I always like to know that you guys can hear me and see me. Okay, let's jump right into it. Let's jump into my notes. Prioritize relationships, know your numbers, time management, systems and processes, invest in yourself, have goals and priorities, skills, skills, skills. That's what I'm going to be talking about. That's a brief overview. Now let's dive a little bit deeper. Prioritize relationships. Who you know can be just as important as what you know, especially as an entrepreneur versus a W 2 employee. We are out in the wild, wild west. We are all on our own. We don't have a predetermined team, manager, coworkers, associates. If you're a W 2 employee, you're already placed into a group and you have a very specific, very closed group. This is who you're working with. It doesn't really matter anybody else in your community. They don't really matter when it comes to your job. It doesn't work like that. But as an entrepreneur, you are all of a sudden integrated into your community. And now the person at your church, the person that one of the parents at your son's football game, literally anybody at the park, anybody at the grocery store, somebody your plumber who comes over to your house. Now all of a sudden anybody could potentially turn into a client, customer, vendor, investor. You never know. Employee, you never know who you might run into out in the real world. So, who you know can be just as important as what you know. And I like to say just as important, not more important, not less important, but seriously, who you know can be just as important as what you know. It's still important, obviously. If you're trying to be a bookkeeper, you still need to know bookkeeping fundamentals and QuickBooks and how to be a bookkeeper and accountant. But who you know could open some really valuable doors in terms of getting clients or just getting access to information or getting access to high quality employees if you're trying to grow your business. Also, your reputation. This kind of ties into who you know. Reputation. This is serious. This is very real. You can't buy a good reputation. You probably know people who are famous and rich who have a terrible reputation. You cannot, it doesn't matter how much money you have, doesn't matter doesn't nothing matters when it comes to reputation. You can't buy it, you can't fix it. It takes 2 seconds to destroy your reputation. So, I always tell people you got to be honest, you got to be professional, positive, polite, honest. You have to have integrity. You have to try to do the right thing all the time. Of course, you're going to make mistakes. That's just natural. You're going to make mistakes, but you got to try to not make mistakes. Don't purposely be a con artist. Don't purposely commit fraud. Don't try to scam people. Obviously, as an entrepreneur in a local community, even if you're in a big city, in your community, word gets around fast. I know real estate investors in central PA, everybody knows everybody, and it's a small community. So if you hurt somebody or if you do something bad to somebody, word will get around very quickly. And as a bookkeeper, as an entrepreneur, it's all about trust. People have to trust you. You've got to build relationships. You can't buy a good reputation. It takes a long time to build a good reputation, and it's very quick to destroy your reputation. Number 2, know your numbers. Budget. How much money do I need to live? If you're thinking about getting started, you need to know What are my living expenses? How much money do I need to live? Because I'm sure a lot of people watching this video right now are struggling right now in this phase. When do I quit my full time job? When do I go all in as an entrepreneur? And it's impossible to know that answer. There is no one right answer for everybody. It all depends on your personal budget. Some of you might have a mortgage and kids and daycare and sports and clothes and groceries. Other people might be living in your parents' basement and everywhere in between. So you need to know, how much money do I need to live? If you're a bookkeeper, it's perfect. You know how to budget, you know how to manage your finances. So figure that out. Know your numbers when you're getting started. And then as you grow, have spreadsheets. If you want to have a CRM, have a CRM. How many clients do I need to cover my living expenses? How much do my clients pay me on average? What's my MRR, monthly recurring revenue? You're going to hear a lot of people talk about monthly recurring revenue, MRR. This is a beautiful thing. Once you land a client, let's say they pay $500 a month, that is not a $500 customer. That is a $10,000 customer, because they're going to pay $500 a month for 2 years. So you got to think, what's my monthly recurring revenue? How many clients do I need to cover my living expenses? What's my churn? How quickly, I mentioned that client is worth $10,000 because they're going to pay you for 2 years. So how do you figure out they're going to pay you for 2 years? Well, you need to figure out, how long on average do clients stick around? If I onboard a client in January, do they leave that year? Do they stick around until next year? Do they stick around for 3 years? What's your churn? What's your annual monthly churn? How many clients on average are you losing per month? That way you can figure out, how many clients do I need? Can I spend money to acquire customers? All of these things are going to help you start and grow your business. You got to know your numbers. You got to know your numbers. Really, there is no secret strategy tip around this. Unless you hire a full time controller or CFO or personal finance manager, somebody has to track your numbers. No way around that. Absolutely no way around that. Either you have to do it or you got to hire somebody to do it. And I recommend you should probably know your numbers. Number three, time management. No one is holding you accountable. As an entrepreneur, time management is one of the hardest things and also one of the most important things. It's so easy as an entrepreneur to take the day off, to leave work early, to wake up late, to do whatever you want to do, basically, because that's kind of the benefit of being an entrepreneur. We have the freedom and flexibility to do whatever we want. But if you want to be successful, if you want to grow your business past $10,000 or $20,000 per month, you're going to need to manage your time appropriately. No one's holding you accountable. You're not clocking into work. You don't have a manager. You don't have a boss. You don't have somebody who's checking your timesheets to make sure that you're working 40 hours a week. Also, build up to working more. So you see famous people on the internet talking about how they work 10, 12, 14, 16 hours per day. And if you want to do that, cool. If you don't want to do that, that's fine. But if you do want to do that, build up to it. It's like being a professional athlete. It's like working out, exercising. You're not going to wake up one day and say, I'm going to go to the gym twice a day for 6 days a week. You have to build up to it. Same thing with your workload. You have to build up to working a lot. I work a lot. I wake up at 5 a.m. and I work until 5 p.m. I take about 2 hours of breaks during the day. So I work about 10 hours per day, 50 hours per week, and about 2 to 4 hours on the weekend. So I'm probably working 55 to 60 hours per week pretty consistently, working pretty hard, working pretty efficiently. But I didn't start doing this. I didn't start working like that 5 years ago. Build up to working more. Treat it like the gym. Slowly add things to your schedule, add things to your workday. If you want to work more, if you want to make more money, the sky is the limit as an entrepreneur. If I can tell you, if I can just be totally honest with you, in October, I just looked at the numbers. I made $150,000 profit in October, $77,000 in Zip Capital, and like just about the same, about $75,000 in Harrisburg Bookkeeping. So I have Zip Capital, my real estate debt investment fund, where investors give me money. I have about $3,000 of other people's money, and I have about $3 million of other people's money in Zip Capital and about $1 million of my own money in Zip Capital. So right now I have $4.2 million lent out. and I placed $1.6 million in real estate loans in October, which is how I made $77,000 in October from the origination fees, underwriting fees, processing fees, plus all the interest income. $77,000 just in October in Zip Capital. And I'm offering 8 to 12% fixed returns. Real quick plug, if you want to register, if you want to learn more, I've got a link down below. You can register on my website and we can chat about you investing into Zip Capital, and I'll give you 8 to 12% fixed returns. But then in my bookkeeping business, I made about the same. So I have 70 bookkeeping clients, and I sell courses, I sell digital downloads. I make about $10,000 to $20,000 per month in my education business, and I make about $30,000 to $40,000 per month in the bookkeeping business. So the reason I bring all that up is because I had a record month in October for the first time ever, made $150,000 profit in 1 month, but I worked really, really hard to get here. It took me 5 years to get to this point. I worked a lot this month. I worked very hard, but the sky's the limit. So if you want to get to that point, you absolutely can. Maybe, might be possible, but slowly work up, build up to get to that point. The sky is the limit as an entrepreneur. If you love what you do, the work feels easier. I don't know what it is, but if you enjoy what you do, and most entrepreneurs probably like what you do because you get to pick what you do. But I was in the army. I worked at Chewy. I worked at Amazon as an area manager. And in the army, I was an infantry platoon leader. And I never really liked my job. I was never really a good employee, but you could probably tell, I love being an entrepreneur. So I work harder today than I ever did before. And also, I like what I do more today, more than I ever did before. Systems and processes. You need to have systems in place as an entrepreneur as you grow your business. For marketing, how are you marketing? Do you have paid ads? Do you have SEO optimization for your website? Do you have a blog? Do you have flyers that you mail out? Do you have billboards, TV commercials, maybe social media marketing? That's what I do. Systems. Develop a system for social media marketing. Tracking leads. People are going to express interest in your business, in your services, in your investment. So if you need to track the leads, how are you doing that? Do you have Zapier automations and a CRM and a bunch of back-end technology and AI? Or do you have employees? Do you have lead setters and sales reps and business development people? Are you doing it all by yourself? Are you cold calling people? How are you tracking your leads? For me, you probably already know, I keep it super, super simple. When it comes to tracking leads, I just use an Excel spreadsheet. Super, super simple. If people reach out to me, or if I reach out to somebody and they express interest, then boom, you automatically get added to my Excel spreadsheet, my tracker. I have like 300 people right now listed on my Excel spreadsheet for Zip Capital, people who have expressed interest in Zip Capital. And I try to follow up with all of those people once a month. You got to track your leads. Onboarding clients. How are you doing it? Are you sending an email? Are you meeting with people? Zoom call? Do you have like a template? Do you have a Loom video maybe that you pre-record that you send to your clients? Are you doing it over the phone? How hands-on are you? How hands-off are you? Is it an automated process? You need to figure out how to onboard clients. For me, I have an email template that goes out to all of my new clients. As soon as you become a new bookkeeping client, I send you an email template. Here's what you need to do. Here's your QuickBooks subscription. You need to update your billing information. You need to connect your bank accounts and credit card accounts to the QuickBooks account. Send me all of your bank statements and credit card statements. How are you onboarding clients? Managing monthly workflow as a bookkeeper. How are you managing your monthly workflow? Do you service your clients once a week, every single day, once a month, bi-monthly? Do you have a tracker? Do you use Keeper? Do you have software to do it? Do you have an Excel spreadsheet? Do you have a Google Sheet? Maybe you have a team. Do you have a shared Google Sheet with everybody in your team? How are you keeping notes? How are you sending questions to your clients? These are all really great questions. Okay, we're halfway done. If anybody's watching live and if you have any questions, let me know down in the chat if you have any questions. Hopefully, I can get to a few questions at the end of this live. Invest in yourself. I'll be honest, I did not do a very good job of this. Education, health, efficiency, reinvest back into yourself. Like I said, I'm not a great example of this. Health. There's really no way around this. If you don't take care of your body will not take care of you. And probably more importantly, your brain. If you don't take care of your brain's not going to take care of you. So, one thing I do try to really prioritize is sleep. I see some people talking about sleeping 4 hours a night. I don't know how they do that. If they can do that, good for them. I can't do that. I cannot operate on less than 7 hours per 7 hours of sleep per night. I truthfully believe that sleep is a performance enhancing drug. If you can optimize your sleep, you can conquer the world. If you're sleeping less than 6 hours per night, I would be willing to bet that you are probably not operating optimally. It's not sustainable long term. Sure, you could do anything for 30 days. You could not eat for 30 days. You could sleep for 4 hours a night for 30 days and maybe be okay. But I'm talking long term. I've been doing this for 5 years. There's no way I would be able to sleep 4 hours a night consistently every night for 5 years. I just don't think that's possible without maybe taking naps during the day. I just don't see how it would be possible to only sleep 4 hours in a 24-hour period long term consistently. I don't think that's possible. So you got to think long term. You can do anything for 30 days, but what do you want to do for 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, 5 years? You need to develop a routine. And for me, that routine is going to bed early. Last night I was in bed at 9:30 p.m. I try to be in bed before 10 p.m. every single night. And I have 5 kids. So I have a lot to do in the evening, putting the kids down to bed, sports practice, dinner, cleaning the house. My wife helps me out with a lot of stuff. I'll just be honest. My wife does probably 90% of the household duties, but there is still a lot that needs to be done. So you have to develop a routine for taking care of yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, whatever that looks like for you. Education. You need to continually educate yourself, not just on bookkeeping and QuickBooks and taxes and accounting, but also technology, artificial intelligence, ChatGPT, marketing, social media, Google, your Squarespace, your website, Google My Business. There's so many things as an entrepreneur that you have to educate yourself on. Efficiency. How are you improving your processes? If it takes you 2 hours to make a social media post right now, that's no bueno. You got to figure out how to make that more efficient because efficiency is the key to sustainability. If you want to consistently create content every day for 6 months, you got to figure out how to do it efficiently. If you want to service 70 clients per month, you got to figure out how to do that efficiently. So invest in yourself, education, tools, resources. You got to figure out how to get better. Two more. Have goals and priorities. Where do you want to be in 6 months? I'm really good at this. I'll just kind of toot my own horn for a second. I feel like I'm pretty good at this, having goals and having priorities. Where do you want to be in 6 months? For me, I want to have $5 million lent out in 2025. That's my goal. I'm $1 million. I'm actually $800,000 away from having $5 million lent out. So I'm really, really, really close. And that's been my goal all year to get to $5 million. So, and then where do you want to be in 2 years? But keep in mind, goals change rapidly, especially as an entrepreneur. If you're working in the military, if you're an army officer, or if you're working at Amazon and you're a warehouse manager, kind of those are the two things that I did before. Your path is very clear. You're going to spend 2 years as an area manager, 2 years as an ops manager, 2 years as a senior ops manager, and then eventually, hopefully, you get to be the general manager of a warehouse. In the Army, you're going to spend 4 years, 6 years as a lieutenant, I think 4 years as a captain, and then 6 years as a major, and then maybe you get to lieutenant colonel. Like it's very clear what your path is. And as a W 2 employee, it takes a long time to promote, to advance. But as an entrepreneur, like I said, the sky is the limit. I made $150,000 this month. And I'm not saying that to brag. Honestly, if you don't believe me, that's totally fine. But I tell you this because the sky is the limit. And so if you choose to believe that, then to me, that means that you have a growth mindset, and that is a good thing. Having a growth mindset, believing that anything is possible, is the key to achieving your goals as an entrepreneur, because quite literally anything is possible. I grew my bookkeeping business. Let me try to remember. $55,000 first year, $110,000 second year, $300,000 third year, $700,000 fourth year, and then this year right now I'm at $1 million in 10 months, which means I'll probably be close to 1.2 million in year 5. 1.2 million profit. That's profit in year 5. So goals change rapidly. Be flexible. Okay, last thing I'm going to talk about, and then I'm going to get to the questions. I promise. I see a lot of people are watching live. A lot of people are asking questions. Let's see. Okay. Skills, skills, skills. You will quite literally learn $1 million skills as a bookkeeper. You need to prepare to grow and evolve. Just like me, take me as a perfect example. I loved math in middle school, and then I loved calculus in high school. And then I went on to a pretty good university, Lehigh University, Patriot League, pretty good school, and loved. I wasn't really a great student, but that doesn't matter. I was really good at math. And then I decided to start a bookkeeping business. So I was really good at math, learned bookkeeping, and then I learned about real estate. And then I learned more about business. And then I started learning about investing. And then I started doing real estate private money lending as my own investment strategy in 2023. And then I started Zip Capital in January of 2025. And for the first month ever in October, Zip Capital is going to make more money than Harrisburg Bookkeeping. So you can just see the evolution of my skills. Starting a bookkeeping business 5 years ago, it took me 4.5 years to get to this point. And then Zip Capital, all of a sudden, 10 months later, I grew Zip Capital in 10 months to the point where it took me 4 years to build Harrisburg Bookkeeping. And then it's just going to be exponential. Let me see if I can get this right. Exponential growth. Maybe not. Exponential growth, whatever. You get the idea. Exponential growth with Zip Capital. But it all started with liking math, learning bookkeeping, real estate, business, investing, private money lending, and then Zip Capital. And it's just going to be the sky's the limit. Exponential growth. And it's all the skills. So you can lose your money. You can lose people. You can lose your family. You can lose your house, but you will never lose your education and the skills that you acquire. Nobody can take that away from you. So if you learn skills, if you educate yourself, if you get better, if you improve, if you advance, if you grow, you are quite literally learning right now $1 million skills, operating a business, marketing, raising capital, sales, networking, all that stuff, finance, taxes, $1 million skills. All right, that's it for my notes. Now let me get back to the questions. Okay, so I've got about 7 minutes here. So I'm going to try to answer as many questions as I possibly can. Number one, bookkeeping 101. Good to see you today. Do you share the formula you use to calculate your AP and AR fees with clients? No, I don't. All the calculations I make are internal. I don't share my formula to my clients. I just provide a monthly estimate based on what it's going to be. And the reason I don't share the formula is because I don't want them starting to think about what I'm doing. And so if I tell them I'm going to charge $3 per transaction, then they're going to in their mind, they're going to try to equate my work to how long it's going to take hourly. And I don't work hourly. I don't get compensated for the amount of time that I work on your project or that I do your books. I get compensated for the end result. The end result is organized financial reports so that you can file your taxes. And so what is that worth to you? If it takes me 2 hours, who cares? If it takes me 10 hours, who cares? How much is that worth to you? So I don't share my formula. I just tell them it's going to be $500 per month. And if it takes me 2 hours, great. If it takes me 10 hours, awesome. You have organized financial reports. What is that worth to you as the client? Bob Rivera. Good morning, Zach. If you could go back to your first year in business, what would you do differently? Any mistakes you wish you had known to avoid? Honestly, I would start making videos sooner. I would invest in better video recording software. I would get a better microphone immediately. I still just use my phone to record videos, but I didn't really have a great microphone. I would make as many videos as possible in the very beginning. I think videos are so powerful. Look at all these people. There's 50 people watching right now. People pay thousands of dollars for my weekly meetings, my digital downloads, my courses. People give me thousands of dollars in Zip Capital, all because of the trust that I have built by making these videos. So it's just a testament to the power of social media marketing and making videos. So if I could go back in time, I would start making videos right away with a better microphone, but also more specifically with my bookkeeping business. I would be very selective with the services that I offered. So I went in person. I worked on QuickBooks Desktop. I helped with sales tax. I helped with payroll. I would not do any of that. And I would just specialize in virtual remote bookkeeping services. And I would only work with QuickBooks Online. I would only categorize transactions, reconcile accounts, and generate financial reports. Bob Rivera. Also, how do you decide which clients were a good fit? Eager to get my first client. You're never going to know if a client is a good fit until they become a client. Unfortunately, there are a few red flags to pay attention to in the onboarding process. If somebody misses a meeting, that's a red flag. If somebody refuses to send you bank statements and credit card statements, that's a red flag. If somebody's a jerk on the sales consultation, that's a red flag. If somebody's condescending and rude and controlling during the sales process, during the onboarding process, that's a red flag. But there are people who tricked me. There are people who seemed like amazing people during the sales process and they turned out to be total jerks. And other way around, there are people that I would not have guessed. They did not seem very well organized. They seemed distant and cold and rude during the sales process, and then they turned out to be amazing clients. So it's really hard to tell, but keep an eye out for red flags during the onboarding process. That's why I always have a conversation with people. I always make them send me bank statements and credit card statements, invite me to your QuickBooks. There are steps to the onboarding process so that you can kind of pick up on these red flags. But you're going to learn what the red flags are as you get your clients. So don't be afraid of getting a bad client. Trust your instincts. If something feels off, it probably is. Trust your instincts. J Hop, any best practices for approaching cleanup jobs? That's a very vague question. Best practice is just to get started. Ask questions early in the beginning. I have a video on my YouTube channel. Probably search like cleanup projects or yeah, just search like cleanup projects. I have a whole 30-minute video where I break down how to do cleanup projects on my YouTube channel. But ask questions early and just get started. Just start categorizing transactions and look for trends or patterns. Try to figure out, does this person go to the same place? Maybe they go to the same gas station every day. Maybe they shop at the same store for job supplies, or maybe they pay the same company for marketing. Try to pick up on trends and just get started. Amanda Rose Kelly, how and how often do clients provide you the information for AR and AP? Do they always send the invoices themselves, or do they get you the info for you to send them? Do you only do it on their day? So for AP, pretty simple. There's two folders. So it's in a Google Drive, and there's two folders for accounts payable. There's invoices pending approval, invoices approved for payment. And so the clients have two folders. So all the invoices for the client, they put them into the invoices pending approval folder. And then they take invoices out of there into the invoices approved for payment. And then so once a week on Thursday, I go into the invoices approved for payment folder. And then I add all those invoices into QuickBooks. And then I pay all of those bills on Thursday. So the client tells me very specifically which bills are ready to be paid. For accounts receivable, it can be a little bit less formal than that. Typically, a client will just email me, hey, here's a new customer, here's their email, here's their name, here's the description for the services, here's the amount, please send them an invoice. And then I'll just log into their QuickBooks, create the invoice, email it directly to their client. So the accounts receivable is a little bit more kind of random, sporadic, but accounts payable typically on one particular day of the week. But either way, the client gives me that information. Given what said about reputation, how do you suggest declining the client? Bob Rivera, leverage ChatGPT. Make it about you. Just tell them, hey, unfortunately, I feel like I will not be a good fit for what your company needs right now. You deserve you just I don't know. You don't want to make it seem like you can't provide high quality customer service. Just let them know that, hey, after reviewing your bank statements, after reviewing your QuickBooks account, unfortunately, I don't think that we would be a good fit working together. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for the opportunity to potentially work together, and I wish you nothing but success in the future. Leverage ChatGPT. Ask Chat for a good response, but at the end of the day, be direct. Don't absolutely do not take on a client because you're afraid to decline them. That will be so much worse than just declining them in the beginning. Absolutely. Okay, one more question. One more question. Let's see. Let me. Happy Halloween, Zach. I'm still having a hard time getting my first client. I'm out of the country. Facebook locked up my account, so I might have to use Instagram full time. Any strategies? Not sure why you got locked out of Facebook, but that's why there's LinkedIn, X, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Not sure why you got locked out, but when it comes to social media marketing, let me just give you my real quick strategy and then I got to hop off. Create content every day. The whole point is to build trust and build relationships with your audience. Create content every single day. Find prospective clients. Facebook groups, LinkedIn makes it super simple to search for people. Find prospective clients and then connect with them. Send them a connection request, send them a friend request, and then engage with them. So important. Not many people do this. Engage with your audience, engage with your followers, comment on their posts, reply to their comments, and then last thing is send them a message. Send them a message 30 days later. Okay. So sorry I didn't get to everybody's questions, but it's Friday. Happy Friday, everybody. Next week is month end close. If you have any clients, good luck next week with your month end close. I'm hopping off. Join me on Tuesday, 10 a.m. I go live every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at 10 a.m. Also, I have a private group meeting on Monday at 3 p.m. Private group. The link to join that meeting is down below. Check out the description of this video. Ton of great links. Follow me on social media, Facebook, X, LinkedIn, Instagram. All my social media channels are linked below. Follow me on social media. I have a free Facebook group. Anybody can join. There's like 22,000 people in the free Facebook group. That's linked down below. I've got a course for sale. That's linked down below. And then finally, this video is sponsored by Zip Capital. And yeah, Zip Capital offers 8 to 12% fixed returns to accredited investors. If you have $25,000 of cash sitting in a savings account or a bank CD, treasury bill, money market account, consider investing in Zip Capital. I can offer 8 to 12% fixed returns. So register on my website. It's linked down below, Zip Capital. If you want to learn more, I'd love to chat. Thanks so much. Have a great weekend.